Welcome to Satchats, the Bitcoin podcast where we chat about sats. Sats are the smallest part of a Bitcoin, the same way pennies are the smallest part of a dollar. So whether you're a new Bitcoiner who wants to learn more in an easy conversational way, or a longtime Bitcoiner, head to satchats.com now to grab your slot. I'm your host, Stuart, Bitcoin Maxi, who wears prescription sunglasses because I have Bitcoin laser eyes.
And I am your co-host, Chris, founder and CEO of Ithaca Hummus, Bitcoin smash buyer and multi-coiner.
Woo!
Make sure you subscribe so that we can continue on our mission of spreading the good Bitcoin word.
Each time you like and subscribe to Sat Chats, a Bitcoiner gets their laser eyes. So today is our very first episode, and we are so glad to bring you Jessie. Jessie is my brother's longtime significant other, and she took us with her questions on this wonderful tour of the basics of Bitcoin. This is a really nice introduction and will help you figure out which area of Bitcoin you want to dive into. Without further ado, here's Jessie. So the big question, right, is how much do you know about Bitcoin?
Very little. I know that it's an alternative form of currency, and I know you really like it and have tried to get other people to also like it. And I know it's taking up a lot of Jorma's time right now. He's setting up his server, so I see a lot of that happening. But other than that, I really don't know that much. I still just don't even understand the concept of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like, where is it? Does it have a physical thing? Like, can I use it like regular currency? So what is the value of Bitcoin to me? Why would I purchase it?
Okay. So I can tell you that there are many reasons why you might purchase Bitcoin, right? The reason why I got started with Bitcoin is because I was experiencing more and more success in the field of cybersecurity sales, to the point where middle school me would look at my income and be like, dude, you are the man, right? Like, you can buy whatever you want, bro. You've reached it. You got there, right? But then I would sit down with Kristen and we would look at our every dollar budget. And it's like, all right, so we got a budget this month. Things are going to be a little tight. You know, we need to set aside this much. I'm like, what is going on here? Why does everything cost so much? You know, why does everything cost so much? It cost me $50 to go through Chick-fil-A with my family. I'm just getting spicy chicken deluxe sandwich with pepper jack cheese. Extra pickles, Chick-fil-A sauce, French fries, Dr. Pepper. Like, why is it $50?
Yeah, that's supposed to be fast food. Like, what's going on?
And what's crazy is, like, when I was younger, people were like, man, I remember milk was $3 a gallon. Now it's $5 a gallon. I'm like, whatever, dude. That's so random. Who cares? But now I'm old enough to be like, dude, I remember when I could take my family through Chick-fil-A for $20. And now it's like $50 or something like that. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. So one of the reasons why you might buy Bitcoin is to deal with inflation, okay? So things get more expensive over time, right? Everybody knows that.
In dollar terms.
In dollar terms.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Which, if all you know is the dollar, then you just expect things to get slightly more expensive over time. Right? Hey, inflation's at 2%. Inflation's at 3%.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is when you think about the influence and impact of technology and the impact that has had on manufacturing, building, you know, any industry has gotten more efficient, not less efficient. Mm-hmm. So
why is that happening
and the answer is inflation.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. So will Bitcoin hold its value more than the dollar?
Yes. Bitcoin is a better store of value because its stock to flow ratio is controlled. There's a maximum amount of Bitcoin that can ever be mined.
Okay.
That's not the case with dollars or
because
other
you can
forms
just
of.
print them.
You just print
them.
them.
Just print them.
Which
You
is
can
wild
just
to
print
me to think like we're in this like huge $1 trillion debt. Just print more money. Why can't you just print more money? That whole concept never made sense to me. But okay, so let's say I purchase a bunch of Bitcoin. I don't even know how to purchase them or like what they cost, but let's just say I do that.
Okay.
If for some reason, let's say I get laid off from my job again because I work in software, it's probably likely. And I'm like, okay, well, I've got all this Bitcoin. Can I then like take the Bitcoin out and use that? Is it tangible? Does it have to sit for a certain amount of time? Like,
Well, you can take your U.S. dollars and convert them into Bitcoin on an exchange, and then you can take your Bitcoin and convert them back into dollars on the same exchange. So the exchange has to happen unless you're dealing with a seller of whatever it is you're trying to buy who accepts Bitcoin, which is not very common today.
right. Yeah.
So think about buying a house. Okay? You're taking your U.S. dollars, you're turning it into a house. The house appreciates in value, hopefully. And then when you're ready to sell it, you sell the house and you turn the house back into money for yourself, right?
Hopefully.
So it's hopefully, right? So it's like an asset, right?
Yeah.
The same is true for gold. Like, okay, I'm going to go buy an ounce of gold. Good example, right? When I got to my 5-year mark with ABT, they gave me a gold coin. And it was a 1/4 ounce golden eagle, something. I think it was supposed to be worth $500 when they gave it to me in 2018 or 2019. I learned about Bitcoin last year, and I was like, dude, this gold coin sucks, right? Because it has only appreciated a little bit in 5 years. And the gold went from like $500 to being worth like $620, right? So I was able to then go sell the gold coin for $620.
Okay.
And go buy Bitcoin with it because Bitcoin is the greatest. And Bitcoin over that 5-year period, that $500 would have been like, I don't even know how much, the appreciation rate, right?
Okay.
So the point here is I took the US dollar, I turned it into a house. Later, I turned the house into some US dollars. I took the US dollar, I turned it into some gold coins. Later on, I turned the gold coin into some US dollars. So it's a store of value, right?
And so Bitcoin serves that same sort of function.
Yes.
Okay.
But beautifully.
Yeah.
Like amazing.
So okay, I have 2 questions. What is the return on Bitcoin?
Okay.
The second question, so like I have stocks and investments and those kinds of things going as well. But if I try to turn that into cash money, there's a tax. Is there a tax for doing that with Bitcoin?
Okay. So what is the return on Bitcoin?
Yes.
All right. The return on Bitcoin since its inception 16 years ago is amazingly high. And if you had...
What does that mean, though? Is that like 12%? Is it averaging 15%?
Well, it's gone from 0 to $90,000 to $100,000 in 12 years
for like one
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Right.
what does one Bitcoin cost?
Today it costs $90,000 today.
Whoa. Okay.
90 or 92,000.
So you're not even really. Most people like me. I'm just like common folk. Probably not. I don't care. I won't try to like put myself in a box. But I'm not going to buy $90,000 worth of Bitcoin.
Right.
Okay.
So
You can buy pieces of Bitcoins.
Okay.
So each Bitcoin is divisible into 100 million Satoshis.
okay.
Or in the Bitcoin community, people refer to those as sats.
Sats. Okay. So this is
Satchats.
Satchats.
We're just
Okay.
chatting about sats.
Yeah.
Right? Because most people aren't going to be able to drop $92,000 on a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But you can get over 1,000 sats for $1 right now.
And so what would that be worth?
In the future?
Well, okay, right now, let's say I want to take like $10,000 and buy a bunch of sats.
Yeah.
Am I saying this right?
Yeah,
Sats,
doing
yeah.
it right.
what would $10,000 get me in terms of Bitcoin? Like, what would that equal in dollar amount?
$10,000 would get you approximately 1 million sats
Okay.
today.
And if
and
if
those
I
sats would be worth $10,000.
okay, but then over time,
The value of the sats
the value
go up
of the sats would go
in
up
dollar terms.
Okay, and then if I wanted to exchange those for dollars, it would be whatever the value is at that point in time.
Minus what you asked earlier was what is the tax, right?
yeah.
And so just like an investment, you pay capital gains tax.
Okay.
So if you were to sell any investment that you're holding in your portfolio today, you would pay a capital gains tax, which is around 25%.
Yeah. Okay.
Same thing with Bitcoin.
Okay.
So what most people do is they buy and hold Bitcoin. They're not, the correct way to look at Bitcoin today is not as an investment.
Yeah.
It's as a long-term store of value. It's not a good short-term investment. I mean, it has been historically, but that's not really the best way to enter into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
As
It's
like,
thinking I'm going to spend this.
I'm going to short this. I'm
Yeah.
going to buy low and sell high because, it's very volatile.
Yeah.
So
Is there a point in time where you can avoid the tax, that capital gains tax?
No.
So it's not like a retirement fund
No.
either. So you're going to be able to. Okay.
Yeah, it depends on if things change, right? There are some who believe that Bitcoin is money, right? Like me. And it is defined as peer-to-peer electronic cash, right? If you had a bicycle and I wanted it and you were going to sell it to me for $100, if I hand you $100 in cash, then you know you have $100 now.
Yeah.
You don't need to wait for a bank to say, okay, yep, that's it. You've got it. You don't need a third party to clear it for you. It is a cash transaction. It is the final settlement for that transaction. I walk away with the bike. You walk away with $100. We both know we've done the deal, right? And that's peer-to-peer. That's a peer-to-peer cash transaction. A peer-to-peer electronic cash transaction is the exact same. So if you have a bicycle and you want to sell it for not $100, but 10,000 sats, then I can send you 10,000 sats over the Bitcoin network, and then it comes to you and we're done. Nobody needs to give us permission to do that transaction.
So you're like removing the banks and those kinds of things from those.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Woo!
Okay, because banks really, they have too much power.
too much
right?
power.
See?
Kind of scary, right?
It is, yes, it is very scary. I mean, honestly, like.
They can seize your accounts at any point.
And I can have no money left.
No money, no access to your
Which
assets.
I feel like we're in a time where that is more realistic to happen than it ever has been.
Yep.
So, like, I see myself sometimes channeling my grandparents, like, should I be keeping cash? Like, stored in my house in a safety box somewhere?
It's the right thought, but cash is not the answer.
Yeah, well, cash could have zero value. So
It could go down to zero, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So really, what is that doing for me? So looking at alternative ways to have money without relying on that bank system, I think it could be the wave of the future. Now, how far are we from Bitcoin being like a more
Means of exchange.
Yes.
Right?
Like, how far away are we from that being possible?
There are people who love Bitcoin as a medium of exchange, and they accept Bitcoin for their things. Like Safe Dean takes Bitcoin for his Bitcoin books. But you got to hunt it out. It's still a bit of a novelty, right? And there were people who wanted to really push for Bitcoin to be a medium of exchange fast. And over time, people realized, hey, you know what? The price of Bitcoin is always going up in terms of US dollars. So why would I buy it and then immediately sell it and then it goes to the moon? It's like, well, shoot. So we're kind of in a phase where people are adopting Bitcoin as a store of value for now. So I think we are probably a ways away from using it in an everyday, let me go buy my cup of coffee. But we're definitely already in a place where people are transacting globally.
Okay,
right?
well, I'm not going to be alive in 21
Whoa.
something.
38.
Unless something happens. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe we get some sort of potion that keeps us alive forever. Not that I would want that, but I'm not going to be alive. So how old am I? 45. So let's say I live another 40 years,
Okay.
right? At that point in time, maybe there would be some more common exchange from a Bitcoin perspective.
Definitely.
Okay. But at some point, maybe I'm just going to want to spend that, like, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
So then as you get to be 85, let's say you get 1 Bitcoin, okay? If you bought 1 Bitcoin at some point over the past 16 years, when Bitcoin was worth $1, and you're like, okay, I have $1, I'll buy 1 Bitcoin. You look at it today, that $1 is worth $92,000, which means that the value of that Bitcoin has gone up 92,000x over that time period. That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
The value of the dollar has gone not 92,000x in that time.
So, I mean, in those terms, if you think about it that way, I really should be taking all of the money I have in mutual funds potentially and putting them into Bitcoin?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, that's yes.
Okay.
That's how we feel.
Yeah.
I just looked this up, right? So from 2010 to year end 2024, the average annual rate of return of Bitcoin is 211%.
Whereas like a mutual fund maybe giving you like 14%?
Yeah. Yeah.
Bro.
And then you take that 14% and you adjust it for inflation.
Yeah.
Which means you subtract somewhere between 7 and 10%.
Right.
And you got 4%. You know? So
Yeah.
it is that's what makes it
almost a
the
no-brainer.
best long-term store of value available. It's the
Yeah.
best performing asset class of all time.
Now, does it flux like mutual funds do? So like, you know, with the election and all of that. they're
Yes,
saying,
yes,
like,
yes.
Mutual funds, you know, the stocks can go up and down.
Absolutely, it
So
does.
Bitcoin
And
will
it's
do
it's
that
it's
too.
even
Okay.
more volatile. It's even
Okay.
more volatile. So
what's your
that's
risk
Go
there?
ahead. Your risk is liquidity risk. Like if you don't want to put anything into Bitcoin that you could absolutely need to take out within like a 12-month period. You know,
Okay.
you want to be able to kind of pinpoint like, all right, I'm ready to take this out now.
Okay.
Instead of I'm in an emergency and I need to draw down my Bitcoin and we're in a bear market. Like that's not a good situation.
Okay.
And
So this is money that you feel like you could do without.
yeah.
You're storing it.
It's
Yeah.
it's
You're
like a
storing it.
savings account. It's like the best savings account
Okay,
ever.
okay.
Right. And just so I can, you know, we want to, you know, what we want to do on Sat Chats is bring pre-coiners into Bitcoin,
Yeah.
right? We're standing outside the Magic Kingdom. We're saying, look, just get a ticket and go inside, and we're just going to try to send people in. But for the Bitcoin maxis out there, okay, because we see you over there, there is no risk to Bitcoin,
Yeah.
okay? There's none, right? The riskiest thing is hanging on to nation state paper. Because guess what? Why do you and I have to work for a money that the nation state, okay, whichever nation state you might be in, can print for free? They can print it for free.
Yeah.
What is going on? I have to work for something that you can print for free? Okay? The reason why Bitcoin increases in value, there's so many, but the basics are this. Bitcoin is a store of value because Bitcoin cannot be made by anyone easily. It can't be done easily. The nation state can print dollars like this. Oh, look, hey, you said I owe you, was it $100,000? Okay, watch this. Boop. Okay, and then there you go. There's your $100,000, right? They just made it, right? Gold, you have to go find it. Who can make gold? Nobody can make gold, right? Gold has to be made by the universe. And then you have to go find it. Mm-hmm. And no matter how much you go and look for, there's not a lot of it, right? So when you put your wealth into gold, you're fairly certain that someone's not going to find a whole bunch of gold out of nowhere. That means that there's more gold, which means that it's not worth as much.
Yeah.
Right? Bitcoin is the same way. You have to do a bunch of math with a computer, okay, that's like revving up to its maximum capabilities in order to create Bitcoin.
And that costs energy, right?
Yeah.
So one way to think about Bitcoin is it's like digitizing energy, right? Because
Okay.
the input, the raw material that's going in to power the computer that's trying to solve the math problem is energy.
Okay. This is wild. So Bitcoin is made of math energy.
It's made of
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
is that's wild.
It is
Okay.
crazy. It's crazy.
And so where is this happening? It's happening in people's houses?
Well, yes. I
Okay.
mean, but on a larger scale, it's happening in mining facilities, which are basically
Okay.
big warehouses
Okay.
that
With like
house.
fans and
Yeah.
things cooling the entire. Okay.
Yeah.
I worked with a guy who was my client, and I worked with him, and he would sit in his office, and behind him were just tons of CPUs, I guess, and fans and like things going out of his window to keep his room cool.
Yep.
And he was like, "I'm a Bitcoin miner." That's what he was doing on the side. So
Yep,
I
yep.
have that image in my brain that's just what people are doing, and that's who's creating the Bitcoin.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, and what is the possibility of number one, this failing, and number two, the banks get a hold of it?
Okay. So, what are the chances of Bitcoin failing? I mean, depending on who you speak to, right? They would say 50-50. Either
Okay.
Bitcoin's going to the moon or Bitcoin is going to zero. For the past 16 years, it's gone from being not worth anything to being worth $92,000 per coin.
What determines that?
What determines that is what people are willing to pay for it, right?
Okay, so the more people invest, the bigger the value.
It's supply and demand.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
Limited
like-
supply, which is capped,
Okay.
but demand has gone up. And as the demand's gone up, the price for it has gone up.
Okay.
Right.
So there's also value in trying to talk other people into investing.
Absolutely.
In Bitcoin.
Yes.
Okay.
We're going to sign you up for NutriBoom right after this.
I know. I was like, is this
Shout
a
out
pyramid
NutriBroom.
scheme?
And it's really important that then you sign up a bunch of people,
Yeah,
right? And then
like-
they'll contribute to you. People do get that way. They're like, hey, is this a scam or whatever?
Yeah.
It's like, no, dude. Let's imagine you get to something first and you realize that it's awesome. You invite other people to join you and they benefit from that as well. And they invite more people, like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we found something amazing. And it doesn't matter to me whether you join or not, because my goal is not to like bring you in and then the price goes higher and I benefit. My goal with Bitcoin is to store the effort that I've already put out there, right? It is so frustrating to earn money only for it to buy you less and less and less and less. And I do confess that my first time ever buying Bitcoin was with my allowance, right? So everyone around the house, we all do chores. You do the chores, you get paid an allowance, right? And you get paid 25 cents per chore you do, okay?
Allowance as dad.
I make an allowance, yeah.
As dad.
As
dad.
the
Yeah,
dad
yeah,
of
yeah,
the
yeah.
house. Yeah.
So once I...
You heard that correctly.
Right, yeah. So I used to use my allowance to go buy packs of Magic the Gathering from Target, which is
Dork.
dude, and they're so expensive at Target too. It's really better to buy. It's actually, shout out to the MTG community. It's better to buy singles. Anyways, so I would crack the packs, and I would get up to about $4 of allowance. I would buy the pack, it would go down to zero. I get up to $4, I'd buy the pack, go down to zero. And for some reason, it like built up to like $45 somehow. Maybe I got like $25 for my birthday. I don't know. Anyways, I was like,
Way
what I
to
want?
go, Stu.
Oh,
Saving
dude,
up those quarters.
I know, that's like, that's 180 chores. And I was thinking to myself, Kristen's not going to let me spend our money on tattoos. So what I could do, because I've heard about, the ETFs were approved in January. I'm like, I'm going to see what's up with this Bitcoin right here, because I want my money to go up. I want to make more money. So I'm going to put my 45 bucks into Bitcoin. It's going to go to the moon, and then I'm going to sell it and get tattoos like all over my body, just fully crushed with tattoos.
That's what you're doing with your Bitcoin money. It's just covering yourself. With
Well,
tattoos.
my dad's allowance, right? Dad's allowance is going to pay for dad's tattoos.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because dad's allowance is pumping. And
I would like to have I'll do a Bitcoin tattoo with you.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Who's going to be the first to get the satchats logo tatted on their body? Is it going to be you?
Maybe we go together as,
Laser
first
eyes.
guest. The laser. Yeah. Yeah. You need to get a cat with that's like shooting laser eyes at the logo on your body.
Yeah.
So,
Done.
So I bought the Bitcoin because I wanted to go up in value so that I could then buy tattoos with it, right? And then I learned a whole bunch more and ultimately came to the conclusion that if Bitcoin becomes more valuable over time to where the money I've put in, let's say I put in $100, later on it's $1,000, that's really awesome. But even more important is I want the $100 that I put into Bitcoin today to buy me $100 worth of stuff later. That's it.
Yeah.
Because if I have a $100 bill in my bank account today, by the time I spend it, let's say I spend it 2 years from now, it might get me $75 worth of stuff. That's insane.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I think, I'm just tired of the man, really.
Yeah.
I mean, like, most of what we do, working, what we earn, like what it takes to live, it's all...
It's like you're on a treadmill.
Yeah, it's all being predetermined by somebody that's like way up high in the sky, making millions of dollars a year with like no consideration with what's actually happening on the ground. That's the way that I feel a lot of times. So, I'm in. I would be up for trying to take these Bitcoins to the moon. I mean, I think it's...
Well, that's the cool thing about the community, because you mentioned earlier, it's like it feels like it's a scheme of some sort. And, the truth is when you buy Bitcoin, people who are advocates for Bitcoin, like Stuart and I, we work for you now, right? Because our endorsement, our work of going out and spreading the word and raising awareness for Bitcoin can only do one thing, right? It causes the value of the Bitcoin to go up. So you're kind of like buying into this alternative community that is way more sovereign than...
It does. It actually feels more like grassroots.
It totally is.
Than putting your money in a bank.
Yeah.
It's like way more community driven, way more about the people and putting the control back in the hands of individuals versus...
No third party.
Yeah, no third party.
So let's think about that for a second, right? If we go back to the Middle Ages, when people used gold coins, right? If I am the leader of the nation state or the kingdom, I can't say, hey guys, I'm going to go make more gold real quick. I have to have gold as a nation state or kingdom the same way you have to have gold as an individual, right? So that means that if you don't have it, you can't spend it, right? And if I'm a ruler and I want to go attack the neighbors and I need money to do it, I got to come to you and say, hey guys, they're threatening us. Can I grab a quick 5%, quick 10% of your money, maybe a hot 20%? What's up? I need to collect that money from you and then use it to power, right, the soldiers. And once I run out of that money, I hope the war's over, or I might just have to leave, right? Because I can't, hey guys, I ran out of money. So
And I can't repay you.
And they're like, you know what, forget this, dude. I'm going to go back to my farm because we're over, we're done here, right? So you talk about that grassroots type of situation. Bitcoin is decentralized and it's operated by Jorm, right? He's got a node in his house that has a complete copy of every transaction that's ever been made with Bitcoin since the beginning of all time. It's like a big old spreadsheet, And 20,000 plus computers around the world have that exact copy. And it's updated in real time. And everybody can look and say, yep, that was Stewart's Bitcoin. He sent it to Jorm. That's Jorm's Bitcoin. And now Jorm sent it to Jessie. Now it's Jessie's Bitcoin.
Is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a big, fat spreadsheet that everyone can see and everyone can operate, right? So if the nation state wants Bitcoin, they got to get Bitcoin same way we get Bitcoin, right? And you have a scenario where we don't need the bank to facilitate the transaction for us because that's cash. If I have that $100 bill, nobody even needs to know that it was given to you, right? But you know you have the money. Bitcoin is the same way, right? You also can't make more of it without doing the work. So the nation state can just make more of their stuff if they want, right? And we're like, okay, cool. So you're telling me that your budget this year is $6 trillion, but you've collected $4 trillion in taxes. But so wait, where's the 2 trillion coming from? Oh, we printed it. Okay, so wait.
Which is the biggest, that's like the silent tax, right?
Yeah.
It's the biggest tax of all.
It's coming back to the people to fill that void.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're the
without
ones
asking
that,
permission.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
With no accountability or responsibility whatsoever. It's just we're just going to print money.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, okay, well, I guess that means that if you had 4 and then you made 6 and these 2 are just totally tied to nothing, that means that the value of these 4 is like chopped in half.
Right.
You know, like if you've got $100 and then they print another $100, your $100 is only worth $50 now.
Right.
You're like, what?
Makes sense.
Right. So people don't like paying taxes, so they just print the money and they kind of erode it out from underneath.
Yeah. Taxes are going down. Right? Taxes are going down. People, politicians will run on that platform. I'm going to lower taxes, but in the background, we're going to just print more money. So.
Yeah.
Right.
I've yet to really see taxes going down benefit me ever in my life so far. So I don't know how much I believe that platform to begin with. I do have a question, though, about Bitcoin's accessibility. So, like, for me, I'm in a place in my life where I have capital that I can just be like, I've worked hard over the course of my life to have like cash I can just sit somewhere and be like, all right, invest away. Let's see what happens. But for somebody who doesn't have those kinds of resources, is Bitcoin still accessible to them? So, like, how equal of a playing field are we?
Let's talk about Lion, maybe.
So the idea is everyone. It's so equal. It's the most equal money possible.
Yeah.
Because you can buy any amount of it that you want, right? Since each Bitcoin has 100 million Satoshis in it, or sats, you can buy $1, you can buy $10, you can buy $100, 1,000, a million, several billion, right? So if I am, let's say I'm in Argentina, okay, and I'm making the peso, which is not as strong as the dollar, and I'm experiencing like 60% inflation. Here in America, we got 2%, 3%. It's more like 8 or 9, something like that, right? And we don't, we feel like inflation is bad, right? Like it hurts to go to Chick-fil-A. But I want you to imagine a scenario where you're like 60% inflation and the $100 you have in Argentine pesos in January only buys $40 worth of stuff in February. Your money is dissolving in real time, right? So they don't have $92,000 for Bitcoin, let's say, but they can take those pesos, convert them into Bitcoin, and then they're protected.
Stop the bleeding.
Right?
Okay, that makes sense. So it is accessible then. Like anybody can purchase.
There's no minimum.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can take $1 and buy
Yeah, because we're talking about like grassroots efforts and like being community driven and all. I just want to make sure that it's also like something that everybody does have access to.
Oh, 100%.
To be honest, Many Bitcoiners believe that the non-developed spaces of the world will adopt Bitcoin first.
Yeah.
Because they're experiencing the true ravages of money mismanagement. And if they can hop out of their nation state's currency into something that appreciates over time, then when they're ready, they can convert that back into their nation's currency and go use it, right? So it's very accessible. Anyone, and I hesitate to say buy Bitcoin, because that makes Bitcoin sound like it's a stock or a bond or a couch, right? What you're really doing is converting your money from one form to another. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm not buying Bitcoin like, ooh, I just got a thing. I'm going from nation state paper to Bitcoin, right? If I'm like 18th century Africa, I'm going from glass beads to gold coins, you know? I'm converting from one currency that isn't so hot and is kind of freely abundant and easy to make to another currency that isn't so abundant and is tougher to make. Let's say a nation state's like, you know what? We don't like this. Okay, well, why don't you go try to find all 20,000 computers around the world, homie?
Right. Yeah.
Good luck, my guy. The combined computing power of those 20,000 plus computers equals the biggest supercomputer on Earth. It is the largest supercomputer on Earth, right?
That whole concept still is just like hard for me to. It's a math problem. The whole thing is powered by a math problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
That gets more difficult over time.
What?
Yeah.
Like, who came up with this? Is it so that nobody can solve it and only the computer can solve it? Like, why
It's
is
so
it
that
based on a math?
it costs a lot of energy to solve it. It's
Okay.
like that's the mining process. It needs to be difficult to mine.
So somebody wrote code so that over time a math problem got harder.
Yes, it's dynamic. Like it gets
Okay.
harder over time.
Is it a single individual?
We don't know.
Okay.
So
We don't know who the person is that.
No.
It's anonymous.
He's pseudonymous, right?
So it
So
could
anonymous
be
means you
any
don't
of
know their
us.
name at all. Pseudonymous means they go by a name
The
online.
language expert.
Right? So anonymous, we don't know who he is. Pseudonymous, oh, he has a handle, right? It's Neo, it's Trinity, right? That's a pseudonym.
Okay.
So the individual, well, the creator of Bitcoin goes by Satoshi Nakamoto.
Okay.
Okay. Now, Satoshi might be a guy, Satoshi might be a girl, Satoshi might be alive, Satoshi might be dead, Satoshi might be a group of people.
Could it also just be a computer?
Satoshi might be an artificially intelligent supercomputer. You heard it here first on satchats. Satoshi might be an alien, y'all. Okay? We don't know.
We don't know.
Right? And it doesn't matter because what's important is the program. Okay? Bitcoin is peer-to-peer electronic cash. Bitcoin is a decentralized program. And no matter how much we want more Bitcoin, it only is issued according to a certain cadence and a rhythm. 2008 financial crisis, the nation state says, uh-oh, big boo-boo, let's print a whole bunch of money to make things better, right? The pandemic, oh no, let's print an insane amount of cash.
Yeah.
Literally all the cash we've ever printed since the beginning of a miracle, okay? Let's print that jonks again. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and make everyone's savings worth half as much as they were. Let's go, okay? Bitcoin issued new Bitcoin every 10 minutes during that entire time period, okay? So no matter what the hell's going on in the world, Bitcoin can only happen according to this decentralized program that just boop, 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 like that, right? So you can't change it, right? You can't force it to do something different, which means you can rely on it.
Okay. There was a period of time, though, that I feel like Bitcoin lost popularity and people stopped investing in it. Am I wrong about that?
No, I
Because
don't
I feel
think
like
you're.
it's had a resurgence.
Oh, okay. So it does have a long history, right? Bitcoin was created by Satoshi Nakamoto. Some say Bitcoin was discovered by Satoshi Nakamoto, which I think is elite. And it was used among cypherpunks who knew that privacy would become a problem in the digital age, money printing would become a problem in the digital age, and they wanted a currency that could not be manipulated by the nation state or the bank, central bank, Federal Reserve, whatever you want to say, right? So they saw, hey, here's a program, okay, that you have to work at in order to make more. Everybody has to work the same. And this can be used as money. So they kind of were playing with it in a small circle. It expanded from there into the libertarian crowd who wants individual liberty. They want to be able to buy whatever they want, whenever they want, wherever they want, and they can't do that with a money that is produced by someone else and is under their control. So, hey, and they were going ham on Bitcoin. The libertarians are like, bro, I've got a booth at the Bitcoin conference, and I'll sell you this granola bar, and it only costs 10 Bitcoin. And they're like, cool, here's 10 Bitcoin, because that was maybe like $2 back then. Today, that's $1 million. Okay? So the dude paid $1 million for that snack bar. He just didn't know it, right? Because the appreciation of Bitcoin has gone up. Then you did have a period where people start getting serious about mining Bitcoin. Hey, this is worth something. I'm not going to use my little laptop anymore. I'm going to make a computer that's only going to be mining. And I'm going to cool it. I'm going to get it all juicy. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to be a professional miner. I'm going to make Bitcoin. And then I'll sell the Bitcoin in order to power my operations. Then you had exchanges that were like, dude, people want Bitcoin, but they don't know where to get it. Right? Because you would have to find somebody with Bitcoin and say, hey, can I have your Bitcoin? I'll give you this much. And you had the rise of exchanges where they're like, well, look, we'll buy Bitcoin. And then if you want some, it's like a clearinghouse. Mm-hmm. But then you did have scandals. You had...
I think that's what I remember.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There were...
Because it was during the pandemic, I believe, that or maybe around then.
FTX scandal.
Yeah.
There have been a few different exchanges that were not doing what they said they were doing. Okay. They were not actually holding the Bitcoin that they said they had.
How often does that happen? Like, is that something we need to be concerned about?
Yeah.
How do you control for that?
You custody your own Bitcoin.
Okay, so
you don't put your gold in Fort Knox. You put your gold in
the ground in your backyard.
Oh yeah, or safe.
Like your father.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're like, well, where did I put it?
Yeah, then don't have a map.
Right? And just like gold, just like silver, just like cash, if you lose Bitcoin, it's gone. Mm-hmm. Right? It's not like the bank where you say, look, somebody took my debit card and they charged $1,000 at Walmart. Okay, no problem. We'll put your $1,000 back. From where? Where'd that money come from, homie? They just put the money back.
Okay.
So with Bitcoin and with gold and silver and cash, if you lose it, it's gone. If someone takes it from you, it's gone.
Right.
Right? And there's nobody that operates the Bitcoin network in terms of like, what's the 1-800 number? It ain't there. Okay? Nobody controls gold. Nobody is the CEO of gold. There's nobody to call if you bury your gold coins and then you can't remember where you put it.
Right.
Okay? Bitcoin is the same way, only in the digital world.
So it's possible that could happen again.
So what you want to do?
FTX, something like that.
If you trust an exchange with a bunch of Bitcoin and they mess it up, then yeah.
Okay.
That's why you want to take care of your own Bitcoin, right?
Okay.
Or what if the nation state goes 6102, right? 6102 is an order that was issued during the Roosevelt age that said, guys, we need more gold to shore up our money. So you as an individual American can no longer have your own gold. You need to go ahead and turn your gold into the bank. We'll hit you with some US dollars. It'll be fine. Right? So the government issues an order that says, turn in all your gold and we'll give you dollars. They could 6102 Bitcoin, and Coinbase is going to have to say, okay, well, here's all the Bitcoin that I have, and you can just go ahead and send US dollars to all the people on the list. Mm-hmm. I'll be at my house, and they'll say, okay, 6102, turn in your Bitcoin.
And you just do it yourself.
Not going to, no.
Oh, you're not going to do
I'm going to say, go ahead and find me, homie.
Okay.
Go ahead and find me because this is mine and you can't have it.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
Right? So
but because Coinbase is a business, they're going to have to be under different regulations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it.
So
okay.
when you take Bitcoin into self-custody, you are the controller of that. And it's not, which is
but if you're using a wallet, isn't that a software too? And so that company might have to
No, because that wallet is just a piece of software that runs on your device, same as any other piece of software.
But why would not? Okay.
Then for them, they would need to somehow know what your wallet's password is. Then they would need to get in to your wallet and go from there, right?
But the software itself, couldn't they just be like, nix the software?
Like stop using the software? Sure. But guess what? Your Bitcoin is still in the Chinese apothecary.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why it's important to have control over your keys, because your keys unlock the Bitcoin. Okay. You could use the keys through this wallet to unlock it. You could use the keys through that wallet to unlock it. It doesn't matter. Bitcoin stays in the apothecary no matter what. Your keys stay with you no matter what. And it doesn't matter what software you use, you can get into your Bitcoin, right? Okay. So no matter what is swirling around out there, if you control your Bitcoin, if you can unlock your little post office box, it's yours. Okay? So there is a learning curve, and it's getting easier and easier every time. But ultimately what you'll do when you want Bitcoin is you will get yourself a wallet. That could be on your smartphone. That could be on your computer. You'll set it up, which includes generating a seed phrase. It's 12 random words, okay? And you don't choose them. It'll just be like nicotine, coffee, mug, giraffe, donkey, whatever. Nicotine. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
And those 12 words are your seed phrase. You have to be very careful with your seed phrase. You have to put it somewhere real safe. Mm-hmm. You go into your wallet from there, and you have all these little addresses, just kind of like an email address, only it's a big old string of letters and numbers. Then you go to a place like Bitcoin Well, and you say, hey, I want to buy some Bitcoin. They're like, cool, here you go. You buy the Bitcoin from them. They send it directly to the address that you list. And now your Bitcoin is in that address, and you access it through that wallet. But let's imagine you lose that wallet because you throw your laptop into a volcanic lava flow. That's okay, because your Bitcoin never went anywhere. It just went from one box to another box. You get on it to a different device. Could be your phone now. You download yourself a wallet. They say, all right, you want to set up a new wallet, or do you want to restore a wallet from your seed phrase? I want to restore a wallet from my seed phrase.
So that seed phrase, though, if you lose that in a lava, then you're screwed.
toast.
Your Bitcoin is down.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow. Okay. So if you typically lose all the passwords to everything on your computer, you probably need to figure out a different way to keep that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, people actually buy like titanium wallets and like stamp their seed phrases into them.
Okay. I think that sounds smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, because if you put your seed phrase in a document on your laptop and North Korea gets into your laptop and they read that document, then they'll use that to restore your wallet where they are, and then they'll send your Bitcoin to themselves. And they actually make over $1 billion a year taking Bitcoin from people who don't have good operational security.
So I should actually take the idea, everybody like writes their passwords in a notebook.
Uh-huh.
And if you're in IT, like Jorm, they're like, do not write your passwords in a notebook. Never do that. You store them in a software, like a passkey.
Like a password manager.
Yes, a password manager. But what you're telling me is I should not do that for Bitcoin.
Well,
it needs to be written somewhere
you know,
or stamped in titanium.
And then put into a safe deposit box.
Okay.
Probably the best thing to do.
Okay.
or maybe you hide the seed phrase, right?
Just like swallow it.
Well, some people memorize it because it's just 12 words. What if you memorized the 12 words, right?
That-
I can't even remember anybody's
You
name.
can't. You
most
could.
of the time.
You could if you really tried.
If I really
you
tried,
could
yeah.
do it if
I
you
probably
really
could,
tried.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And you could leave one nation state, go to another. And they say, excuse me, are you leaving with $10,000 or more? You're like, no, I have 12 words in my head. Get to the next.
So you lie.
Well, no, you're not. You're
No,
not.
that's true.
You don't have
It's not on
$10,000.
That's true. That's true.
It's not on you, and it's not in that nation state either. It's up. It's on 20,000 computers worldwide.
Yeah.
So where is it?
So if we move to Mars at some point, because we're almost there,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're going to live on Mars at some point. I could just take my Bitcoin to Mars.
Yeah.
In your head.
Yeah.
In your
my
head,
head.
if you memorize it. Yeah.
So then you roll up wherever you are, and you can download a wallet, restore from seed phrase, and boom, there's your Bitcoin. So yeah, some people store it insecurely.
like that.
Some people put it in a password manager. Those can get compromised, but they're more secure than just nothing.
Yeah.
Some people write on a sheet of paper and they hide the sheet of paper, but if your house burns down and the sheet of paper is in it, oof,
Yeah.
right?
Titanium.
Or if it gets wet.
I like the titanium idea.
Yeah. There's stamp
Tattooed.
seed.
It's kind of public, isn't it?
Well, one-
Someone will cut
Unless
your-
I hide it.
cut your arm off.
Cut my arm off.
Or what if you did like tattoos that was like pictures that made the 12 words? Okay,
Ooh.
but then you get into a motorcycle accident and it absolutely shears off your skin,
This is terrible.
and then you're like, dang it, what was my
Yeah.
seed phrase? Because
Where's my
skin,
cat?
Yeah,
You know, I think your question about accessibility, how accessible is Bitcoin? I think the biggest limiting factor to accessibility today is knowledge.
Yeah.
Like people just don't know.
It feels unsafe. I think that has been how I feel about it. It's
Yes.
like it feels unsafe. I don't know anything about it. It feels unstable. Like I can't even use it. Like what am I using it for? You know, I think we get so focused on if I need money, can I get the money?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So,
okay,
but what I'm hearing is that you can.
yeah.
It's not really what it's used for, but it's still you can use it. like
Yeah,
that if you want.
it's interchangeable for dollars very
Yeah.
easily. Actually, it's more interchangeable for dollars than your portfolio is, because your portfolio is only accessible during banking hours, which is only 20% of the time.
20% of the week.
That's kind of wild. Yeah.
Bitcoin you can
20%.
buy and sell 24/7.
Yeah.
So it's actually more liquid.
Right.
Yeah. And I rely on my financial advisor quite heavily.
You don't want to have. I mean,
So
how's that feel? Right?
He's not accessible very often. Yeah.
We
Okay.
gotta-
So time for hummus? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's do a quick recap, right? And obviously, we're going to ask you to come back in 9 months to give us an update on your Bitcoin.
Like I'm
baby.
having a baby. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going to update us on your Bitcoin baby in 9 months. We would love
Okay.
to have you back, okay?
Yeah.
Because we've talked about so much today, right?
I don't want an actual baby, so that works.
Yeah. Bitcoin baby.
So, what is Bitcoin? Okay, it's electronic, it's peer-to-peer electronic cash. Okay, it's a decentralized program. It's powered by people around the world with computers, not nation states or banks. If you want it, you got to do work. If the banks want it, they got to do work. If the nation states want it, they got to do work. They can't just make it, right? What can it be used for? It can be used to store your hard work for later. It can be used to make transactions around the world. It can be used for all sorts of things, right? And you convert your currency from whatever you have to Bitcoin, and later you convert it to whatever currency you want, right? So is it safe? Yes, right? How do you use it? There's a learning curve, but it's getting better. And ultimately, my take on Bitcoin for a pre-coiner is that it is an excellent opportunity to protect yourself from the ravages of inflation. Okay? So we're going to offer you $50, okay? 50 units of nation state paper. We have 2 Andrew Jacksons and 1 Alexander Hamilton, okay?
Yeah.
$50 cash, baby. Or $50 worth of sats. So
Which I'm going to do a quick
Chris is going to check
calculation
the
here.
Clark Moody dashboard. It's going
Okay.
to tell us in real time how many sats can you buy for $1 right now.
1,088.
Okay, so he's going to take 1,088 sats. He's going to multiply it by 50.
54,400 sats for $50 as of
So show that
right
to
now.
Jessie.
Okay, so 54,400 sats
Satoshis.
is Satoshis is worth $50
Yes.
right now.
Right now.
Okay.
So do you want $50 that's going to buy you $20 worth of stuff later? Or do you want 54,000 sats, which will buy you more than $50 later?
I mean, obviously I want them sats.
Obviously, get them sats. Yeah, dude, we are 1 for 0, bro. We have a 100% success rate. Oh my God. Amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny Stampseed, orange pilling people, one conversation at a time. Let's go. We're going to get you 54,400 sats.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you need to make another important choice, which is which flavor of Ithaca hummus do you want to try right now in the studio today?
I'm going to do that jalapeno.
Ooh, jalapeno lime.
Jalapeno
Yeah.
lime. Okay, let's
Start
get in
with
here.
So we got the
All right.
jalapeno lime here. Jalapeno lime.
Very nice.
Nice packaging, nice packaging.
Okay. Now,
Very clean presentation.
Take a dip.
All right.
Let's put it over here, actually.
we're focusing on money that's outside your comfort zone today. We're going to be focusing on some beautiful, bold tastes
All right.
that are outside your comfort zone as well. Shout out to Ithaca.
Okay.
So
Here we go.
get
Is
in
everybody
here.
trying?
Yeah,
Or is
let's
it
all
just
get
me?
it. No, let's all get a dip, and we'll all try
Okay.
it at the same time. Okay.
Chris?
Yeah,
All right.
What would we-
I would love some.
I'm going to come in here.
Oh, don't drop.
I got it. I got
You
it
need
here.
some help?
We're good. All right.
Okay.
Here we go.
Do a little smell. I like to smell things before I eat them sometimes.
Okay.
Smells good, too. It's
Okay.
a full sensory experience.
I'm smelling some
like it.
jalapeno. Oh man.
Oh, I like that.
It's got good jalapeno flavor right there.
Real.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is really actually surprisingly very tasty.
Now, it is spicy. A little bit, right?
No, that's not spicy.
Okay.
Not
like
for me.
spicy stuff,
Not for
no.
me. It's not like I think
I'm
my
taking
wife.
the other corner of my cracker.
There's-
Not
there's-
double
This will be
dipping.
yours to take home. So you double dip all
What?
you want.
There's an extra woven wheat in here for each of us. So,
Wow.
yeah, woven wheat.
Yeah, I could probably eat that whole container in one sitting. It's
Yeah.
pretty good.
So that would be good on.
Celery,
You could rip some celery into it.
pretzel chips,
Pretzel chips work.
Tortilla.
tortilla chips.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So that's yours to take home.
Thank you. I will definitely eat that.
Well, the choice of Sats was incredible. I love
excited.
that you are our very first. So for all our pre-coiners and Bitcoiners out there, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us, right? We want you all to like this video. We want you to subscribe to the channel. We want to get to 1,000 subscribers lickety split, okay? Because once we do, that's when we unlock the live show for you all. Friday mornings, we're going to be ripping live in the studio. We can all hang out and chat about Sats together. Sat Chats is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. Our guests' views are their own.